Hey everyone, it's Brianna Burrell coming to you from the MASH with a review about an article I read online on vanityfair.com. This article is called Letter to Teen. It is a letter to teenagers about what it's like being a teenager nowadays and whether or not it is a good or bad thing to be a teen. So I'm going to talk about parts of the article that I agreed with and parts that I didn't necessarily agree with. So being a teenager nowadays is pretty hard, and obviously I'm talking from personal experience because I've been a teenager for a pretty long time now, and I think it's mainly harder because of things like social media, and I feel like there's a lot more pressure in school and friends and all that stuff. I definitely agree with parts of her article that talks about how being a teen now is pretty hard. I can actually kind of relate to her crankiness, which is weird because I'm 18, she's 33, and I can kind of relate to some of like the first point she makes in the article. Personally, I get really annoyed with different types of teenagers. I know that I'm a teenager myself, but I feel like sometimes I have an outsider perspective, if that makes sense. I don't know, just because maybe not an outsider perspective, maybe I just get annoyed super easily, but you know, I can see where she's coming from when she talks about how teenagers can be super annoying. We are very loud and obnoxious, especially nowadays. There's so much bullying going on that, you know, if I was an adult, I would look down on teenagers too. Turn on the news and you can see that the news isn't just about like adult crimes anymore, it's about suicides because teenagers have bullied each other so much that this is what happens, and school shootings and gangs. So I just feel like we should kind of take a step back and take a look at what teenagers are in the perspective of adults for a second. We look kind of like bad kids, and I'm not saying that we're all bad, I'm not saying that we all bully each other, we're not all in gangs, but I feel like because a lot of our teen society has those types of issues and does experience bullying or does the bullying, or maybe has so much anger inside them that they, you know, feel the need to get in fights, that it's our responsibility to try and change that. But then the article goes on saying that being a teen now is easier than it was back in her day because of things like phones, and we have ways to contact our friends without our parents getting involved, which I definitely don't think is true, because I definitely know a lot of friends who have whose parents like actually go in their phone and read their text messages, which, oh my gosh, if my parents did that, yeah, well, not like there's like bad things in my phone, but I feel like that's just kind of embarrassing. But she talked about how in her day she would talk on the phone on her landline, and her dad would get on the other line and be like, or like tell her to get off or something, and I thought that was kind of funny. So I guess like, okay, fine, like our phones are easier, but I don't at all think it's easier being a teen now than it was then. And then she says two other points. She says we have access to our heroes, like celebrities and stuff, through Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, which, I mean, I kind of see where she's coming from, but I don't know, like, how likely is it that, you know, your celebrity like Justin Bieber is gonna like tweet you back or anything, because it's probably not that likely. But it is nice, you know, having access to your heroes. I don't know why Justin Bieber would be your hero, but but I mean, I can see where she's coming from with that too, but it doesn't necessarily make it easier. I feel like if you tweet your hero and they tweet you back with like I love you too, or hi, or something like that isn't really, I don't know, that doesn't satisfy me personally. If my hero like tweeted me back hi or I love you too, like, okay, woo. Her last point is that we get to do our homework on the computer. Sure, that makes our lives easier if you are not on all these social media networks. Like, makes your life really hard. Because if you are trying to do homework, I'm not even kidding, I was doing an assignment last night that should have taken me 15 minutes. It took me an hour and a half because I was like going back through Facebook, and then I was going on Netflix, and I was like, oh, I'll watch 5 minutes of my One Tree Hill episode, and then I'll do a problem on my worksheet, and that's what I would do, and it took me forever because then I would turn 5 minutes into 10 minutes, and then I would go on Facebook, and I would go on BuzzFeed, and I would go on Twitter, and I would tweet something, and I would go on Instagram, and it makes your life super difficult. So no, it does not make our lives easier. She goes into another section of her article, I would say it's like the third section, and she says being a teen today is bull. And you know, some of the things she says in this portion of the article I couldn't agree more with. The first point she says is that we can't escape our teen years because of things like Facebook. We're photographing, we're putting these pictures on Facebook, and it's so true. We can't escape anything that we, you know, did in high school or in middle school, junior high, because it's all documented and put on Facebook. That's really true. You know, you can be in college and you can like click on the photos that you're tagged in and press the backspace and go to like the very first picture that you're tagged in. It's from like 6th grade, and it's super embarrassing. You know, it's all in your awkward stage. And you know, you can't get away from that because these pictures are on the internet now, and you know, everything on the internet stays on the internet. And it's scary that you won't be able to escape anything that happens in your life. And it just means that you have to be a lot more careful now what you post on Facebook, what you post on Twitter, Instagram, pictures that you post, even statuses that you post. And her next point is everyone has to be everything, aka like you have to be the straight A student, you have to be like the student council president, you know, all this stuff to get into a good college. And if there is anything in this article that I agree with, it is this point right here. Everyone has to be everything because colleges are so competitive. It's ridiculous. I just don't think it's, obviously everyone cannot be everything. Like maybe one person can be everything, but not everyone. Not everyone can be a straight A student, not everyone can be student council president because there's only one in each school. And I just think it's kind of ridiculous, the standards that colleges are putting students in. I think it's really, really sad that this is how our education system has evolved. This is why being a teenager is so hard right now, because we are all competing for the same spot in a college. We're all competing to be the best. We're all competing to get into a good college. And I don't think we should be put in a competition against each other. It's like we're put in the Hunger Games for education. Like, only the best one with the best grades and the best like background and stuff gets put in this college, and I think it's ridiculous. And then her last point is that there is no live TV. I feel like this makes our lives a little easier. I would pick Netflix over live TV any day. So yeah, that was my review on the article. Overall, I think that it is much harder being a teenager, and our lives are very, very different. I don't know, I just think that we live in a different world with social media, and it's changed everything. Comment down below whether or not you think it's harder being a teen now, or if it's harder being a teen back then, or if it's all the same to you. And let us know what you think about the article that's going to be linked down below. Thanks for watching!